Title: They witnessed a human warship and instantly panic at Part 1. Rival. And discover Zetra's system was quiet. The Terran ships moved slowly between the shining stars. Captain Eli Turner stood on the bridge of the main patrol vessel. His eyes were fixed on the stars ahead. The patrol had been routine. Nothing unusual had happened in months. Eli felt calm, but there was always a small tension in the air. Space could be dangerous, even in a quiet system. Navigator Sophie Grant checked the readings on her console. "Captain, I am picking up a strange energy signature in the outer sector," she said. Her voice was steady but curious. Eli turned to her. "What kind of signature? Something new or an old one?" Sophie shook her head. "It does not match any natural phenomenon we know. It is large and moving, but I cannot determine its origin yet." Eli frowned. "We should approach carefully. Luke, keep the engines ready to maneuver. Sophie, keep scanning. I want all possible data on this object." Engineer Luke Hayes nodded and checked the engines. The ship was in top condition, but any unexpected encounter could be dangerous. Even though the Terran were skilled engineers, space was unpredictable. The fleet moved slowly toward the source of the readings. As they came closer, the energy readings grew stronger. Sophie's eyes widened. "Captain, this is massive. It is not an asteroid or a star. It looks like a ship, a very large one." Ellie's heart skipped a beat. He had seen large ships before, but nothing like this. "Bring it up on the main screen," he said. The screen flickered and then showed an enormous ship emerging from hyperspace. Its size was beyond anything the Terran had imagined. Smooth metal surfaces, lights blinking across its hull, and weapons that glimmered with a quiet menace. The Terran crew gasped. Even Sophie, who was calm most of the time, leaned forward in shock. "What is it?" whispered a young crew member behind them. Eli shook his head. "I don't know, but it is human. We have heard stories, but I never thought we would see one." Luke said quietly, "I read reports. Humans build fast, strong ships. But this is beyond imagination." The human warship moved slowly, scanning the Terran fleet. It made no hostile move, but its presence was enough to make the Terran nervous. Eli felt a chill run down his spine. Every Terran on the bridge was silent. They had trained for encounters with unknown ships, but nothing in their history prepared them for a human warship. Sophie tried to communicate. She activated the universal signal transmitter. Bright pulses of light flashed across the void, forming basic patterns of greeting. The Terran hoped the humans could understand. The human ship responded, not with words, but with a display of controlled energy pulses. It was a test, showing power without attacking. The Terrans stepped back from the screens. Their ships seemed small and fragile in comparison. Panic began to rise among some of the lower-ranking crew members. Eli kept his voice calm. "Do not panic. Stay focused. We are here to observe, not fight. Keep scanning and record everything." But even as he said it, his hand shook slightly. He could feel the tension in the room. Every crew member was aware of the danger, even without any hostile action from the humans. Sophie studied the energy readings. "Captain, the shields on that ship are incredible. Any attack from them would destroy us immediately. Their weapons are precise. They could hit us from a distance we cannot reach." Eli nodded slowly. "Then we have to be careful. Luke, make sure all defensive systems are ready. We cannot make mistakes." The Terran fleet formed a cautious line. Their ships were small compared to the human warship. Even their largest vessel looked like a small craft next to the humans. Eli felt a mixture of fear and awe. Humans had built something beyond their imagination. They were strong, disciplined, and dangerous. As minutes passed, the Terran realized that the humans were not attacking. They were observing, scanning, learning about the aliens in front of them. Eli felt a small relief, but it was short-lived. The humans were still mysterious. Their intentions were unknown. That was as dangerous as an attack, some crew members whispered. They were scared, imagining the power of the human ship. They thought about what would happen if a human decided to attack. The Terran ships would be destroyed in seconds. Eli saw the fear and tried to keep morale steady. "We are explorers. We observe and learn. Do not let fear control you." Sophie continued to analyze the data. Captain, their movement patterns suggest intelligence and strategy. They are testing us. Not attacking yet, but learning about our capabilities. Luke added, their technology is incredible. The engines, weapons, shields. They are years ahead of us. We cannot fight them now, and probably not for a long time. Eli nodded. Then we observe. We learn, and we survive. That is all we can do right now. The human warship moved closer, but not in an aggressive way. It was like a giant creature examining a smaller one. The Terran ships shifted slightly, unsure whether to flee or stay. Eli debated with his inner thoughts. They could retreat, but that might appear as fear. They could stay and observe, but that was risky. Every choice carried danger. A small scout vessel approached the human ship. Ellie's heart pounded. The humans did not fire. They allowed the Terran to come closer. The scout was careful, maintaining a safe distance. The Terran crew watched closely. They were amazed. Humans had confidence and control. They did not rush, but their presence was enough to make the aliens nervous. Captain, they are responding to our signals, Sophie said. Her fingers moved quickly over the console. They are not attacking, but they are aware of us. Eli felt a mix of fear and curiosity. Then we continue. Stay alert. Record everything. We must understand them. The Terran crew worked together, checking sensors, engines, and communications. They shared data and observations. Fear was still present, but their training helped them stay calm. They knew they could not act recklessly. Hours passed as the Terran observed the human warship. It did not leave, but it did not attack. It was a silent giant in the stars. The aliens began to understand a little. Humans were strong, intelligent, and disciplined. They were not reckless. They had power and control. Eli took a deep breath. This is the first step. We witness, we learn, and we survive. We have to respect their strength, but we must not be afraid of everything they do. Sophie nodded. We must be careful, but this is an opportunity. We can study them, learn from them, and maybe, in time, communicate properly, Luke added. I have never seen technology like this. We must record every detail. This could change our understanding of the galaxy. The Terran continued to observe the human warship. They realized it was more than a ship. It was a symbol of human ingenuity, courage, and discipline. The crew felt fear, but also awe. They understood that humans were different from anything they had encountered before. Eli spoke quietly, almost to himself. We are small compared to them, but we are not meaningless. We observe, we learn, and we survive. That is our way. The night passed slowly. The stars moved, and the human warship remained calm and powerful. The Terran ships kept their distance but remained alert. Every crew member was aware of the danger and the importance of this encounter. Finally, Eli addressed the crew. Today, we have seen something extraordinary. We have faced a species beyond our expectations. We have learned much, and we must use that knowledge wisely. The crew nodded. They were tired, scared, but also inspired. Humans were strong, and they would need to respect that. But the Terran were also explorers. They would continue their mission, observing, learning, and surviving. The first part of their encounter ended with the Terran still watching, still learning, and still feeling a mix of fear and awe. They knew this was only the beginning. Humans were different. Humans were powerful, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Title: They witnessed a human warship and instantly panicked. Part 2, Assessment. And Firth Terran fleet held its position near the human warship. Captain Eli Turner kept a careful watch. He could not shake the feeling of unease. The humans had not moved aggressively, but the sheer size and power of their ship filled every Terran with fear. Navigator Sophie Grant studied the readings. Captain, their energy output is much higher than we expected. Their engines, weapons, and shields are all beyond our measurements. Eli nodded slowly. We already knew humans were strong, but this is something else. Keep scanning. Every detail is important. Engineer Luke Hayes added, even our sensors are struggling. We can barely keep up with the readings. Their shields are like nothing we have seen. The bridge was tense. Every crew member felt it. Their hearts raced as the human warship loomed before them. Some whispered quietly to each other, afraid of what might happen next. Eli tried to maintain calm. Focus on your duties. Do not panic. Observe and record everything. That is our mission. Sophie tapped her console. Captain, they are moving slightly, scanning us. They are not attacking, but they are analyzing our fleet. Ellie's brow furrowed. Then they are cautious and strategic. We cannot assume anything about their intentions. A young crew member asked nervously, Captain, what if they decide to attack us? We cannot fight them. Eli looked at the young Terran and nodded. You are right. We cannot fight them. We can only observe, stay calm, and hope they understand we mean no harm. Sophie continued to study the human warship. Captain, their movement patterns suggest intelligence and planning. They are not acting randomly. Everything they do is precise. Eli took a deep breath. Then we must be precise too. Luke, double-check all our defensive systems. We must be ready if they act. Luke went to work, inspecting the ship's engines and shields. Every system had to be ready. Even a small mistake could be disastrous. The Terran had never faced a species like humans. Their technology and strategy were unmatched. As the hours passed, the human warship remained calm. It moved slowly, scanning the Terran fleet without aggression. Eli could see the curiosity in their behavior. Humans were not reckless. They were disciplined, controlled, and careful. The Terran scientists began discussing their observations. Captain, we can learn a lot from them, said one. Their weapons, shields, and engines are years ahead of our technology. We need to understand their methods, Eli agreed. Yes, but do not forget, we are still weak compared to them. Study, learn, but stay cautious. One wrong move could be fatal. Sophie added, I'm detecting sub-signals from their ship. They are observing us in detail. It is like they are testing our reactions without attacking. Eli frowned. Testing us. Then we must be careful. We cannot show fear or aggression. Keep all data for analysis. We must understand them before we act. The Terran fleet was nervous. Every crew member knew that humans were powerful. Even without aggression, their presence caused fear. The Terran had always believed they were clever and capable. But the humans made them doubt everything. Eli tried to speak to the crew to calm them. Remember, we are explorers. We do not attack without cause. We observe, record, and survive. This is our strength. Luke looked uneasy. Captain, I have never seen fear like this. Even the lowest-ranking crew are tense. We are all nervous, Eli nodded. That is natural, but we must not let fear control us. Focus on your duties. Keep scanning and recording. Sophie focused on her console. Captain, their shields are adaptive. They respond to every small change in our energy emissions. They could destroy us in a second if they wanted. Eli felt the weight of the situation. Then we must be invisible, careful, and precise. Move slowly, record everything, and avoid any mistakes. The humans continued their observation. Small energy pulses and scanning beams passed over the Terran ships. Every Terran felt the pressure of being examined by a superior force. Fear and respect mixed together in every crew member. A junior officer asked nervously, Captain, what do they want from us? Eli looked at the young Terran. We do not know yet, but we must assume they are intelligent and disciplined. Any sudden move could cause them to react. Stay calm and observe. That is our best option. Ours turned into a long day. The human warship did not leave, but it did not attack. The Terran were exhausted from constant observation and tension. Still, every crew member remained alert. The humans were patient, strong, and careful. Their power was not just in weapons, but in strategy. Sophie reported, Captain, I am starting to understand their methods. Humans combine power with control. They do not act recklessly. They calculate every move. Eli nodded. Then we must be careful and thoughtful. They are not just a threat because of strength. They are a threat because of intelligence and discipline. Luke added, Captain, we need to document everything. Engines, shields, weapons, movement patterns. This could be vital for our survival and learning. Eli agreed. Yes, we must use this opportunity. Observe, record, and learn. Our fear is natural, but knowledge will make us stronger. The Terran fleet worked together, careful and precise. They studied every movement of the human warship, recording data, analyzing patterns, and discussing what they observed. They learned quickly that humans were not just strong. They were disciplined, intelligent, and strategic. Every action had purpose. Sophie looked at the readings. Captain, their sensors are incredible. They could detect us from very far. Any attempt to hide would fail. Eli took a deep breath. Then we must rely on caution and intelligence. We cannot match them in strength, but we can survive by being careful. As the day ended, the Terran realized something important. Humans were more than just a threat. They were a challenge, a species to learn from. Fear remained, but all replaced some of it. The Terran began to see that humans were capable of greatness, discipline, and courage. Eli addressed his crew one last time before rest. Today, we faced something extraordinary. We witnessed a human warship. We felt fear, but we also learned. Fear is natural, but knowledge and observation are our strength. We will survive and learn from this encounter. The crew nodded, tired but determined. Fear had not vanished, but understanding had grown. The human warship remained in the distance, calm and powerful. The Terran knew that the humans were not reckless. They were disciplined, intelligent, and strong. And the Terran had much to learn. As the Terran ships held their positions, they recorded every detail. They watched, learned, and planned. Fear would always be there, but so would knowledge. The humans had shown them power, control, and intelligence, and the Terran would carry that lesson into the future. Title: They witnessed a human warship and instantly panicked. Part 3. Human strategy revealed that the Terran fleet stayed near the human warship, still tense and careful. Captain Eli Turner tried to understand the humans. Their actions were calm but precise. Every movement seemed planned. It was clear the humans were observing, testing, and analyzing the Terran. Navigator Sophie Grant studied the patterns. Captain, they are not moving randomly. Every shift and pulse has a reason. They are calculating our responses. Eli nodded. Then we must remain steady. Keep scanning. Keep observing. Do not act out of fear. Engineer Luke Hayes checked the engines and shields. Captain, their power is incredible. One wrong step and they could destroy us. We need to know exactly what they are capable of. The human warship moved slightly closer. Small energy bursts scanned the Terran fleet. The aliens watched in awe. The humans were demonstrating power without attacking. They were testing the Terran, showing what they could do if needed. Eli gathered his officers. This is a test. They want to see our reaction. Do not panic. Stay calm, record everything, and prepare for any move. Sophie spoke carefully. Captain, their weapons are precise. They could target any of our ships from a distance. They are disciplined, not reckless, Eli agreed. Yes, discipline and strategy. That is the key. Humans are strong, but their intelligence makes them more dangerous. As the hours passed, the human warship continued to observe. The Terran began to see patterns. Humans approached with caution but confidence. They tested the Terran fleet without harming them. Each action was deliberate, measured, and informative. Luke added, Captain, it is like they are teaching us without words. They show power, but they do not use it unless necessary. Eli nodded. Then we must learn from this. Observe, record, and understand. That is how we survive and grow. The human warship performed controlled maneuvers. Energy beams traced lines in space, scanning shields and engines. Terran ships shivered under the energy pulses, but no damage occurred. The humans were precise, showing strength but not aggression. The Terran realized that humans combine power with control. That was something new to them. Sophie said quietly, Captain, their tactics are advanced. They are testing our reactions, our decision-making, and our structure. They want to see how we respond to stress. Eli took a deep breath. Then we must be careful. Every decision matters. Every movement must be deliberate. The Terran officers discussed strategies. They realized that humans were not only strong, but their intelligence and patience made them dangerous. Even without weapons fire, that humans were teaching fear and respect. Eli watched his crew. Fear was visible, but determination and curiosity were growing to dot. Sophie studied the data. Captain, their shields adapt to our energy emissions. Any attempt to hide would be noticed. They are learning about us, but they are very cautious. Eli nodded. That is good. They are cautious. But we must also be cautious. We cannot make mistakes. The human warship moved closer in a careful way. Scout vessels approached the Terran fleet, scanning without aggression. The aliens were amazed. Humans were strong, but they were not reckless. They combined power, patience, and strategy. Every movement was meaningful. The Terran had never seen anything like it. Luke whispered, Captain, even small displays of their energy can shake our ships. We must respect their power. Eli agreed. Yes, Luke, respect and caution. That is our lesson. The human captain, no Briggs, monitored the Terran fleet. His tactical officer, Lily Morgan, advised, they are nervous. We should test their reactions gently, not provoke them. Noah nodded. Yes, we observe, show our strength, but do not attack. Let them understand we are capable, but not reckless. The humans performed another display. Energy pulses ran across space, testing shields and reactions. The Terran fleet trembled slightly under the pressure. Some of the lower-ranking crew members whispered in fear. Eli reminded them, stay calm. Observe and record. Do not act on fear. Sophie said, Captain, their strategy is clear. They want to see how we behave under pressure. They are studying our decision-making and response patterns. Eli took a deep breath. Then we must remain composed. Every step we take will be observed. Stay alert and steady. The Terran began to learn from the humans. They saw that humans were not only powerful but disciplined. Each action had purpose. Humans could destroy them easily, but they chose control over destruction. This combination of intelligence, courage, and discipline made humans extraordinary. Luke checked shields and engines again. Captain, their sensors can see every detail. We must be precise in our movements and careful in our decisions. Eli nodded. Yes, Luke, precision, observation, and caution. We are explorers. That is how we survive. The hours passed. The Terran fleet adjusted to the human presence. Fear was still there, but awe and respect grew. Humans were capable of great power, but they showed control and patience. The Terran understood that humans were not only a threat, but also a species from which they could learn. Sophie said softly, Captain, we have never encountered a species like this. Their combination of intelligence, discipline, and power is beyond anything we imagine. Eli agreed. Yes, Sophie, that is why we must observe and learn. Fear is natural, but understanding gives us strength. The human warship continued its careful maneuvers. Energy scans and tests passed over the Terran ships. No damage was done, but lessons were clear. Humans were not reckless. They were strong, strategic, and disciplined. The Terran could see that now. Eli addressed his officers. Today, we witness human strategy and power. They are not mindless warriors. They are intelligent, calculating, and careful. We must respect that. Observe, record, and learn. That is our task. Sophie nodded. Captain, I am documenting everything. Shields, engines, movement patterns, and reactions. This data will be invaluable. Luke added, Captain, their strategy is teaching us. Even without weapons fire, we are learning from their actions. Eli looked at the human warship on the screen. Yes, this is more than an encounter. It is a lesson. Humans are extraordinary, and we must understand them. Our survival depends on it. The Terran fleet continued to observe, learning and recording every detail. Fear remained, but knowledge grew stronger. Humans had shown power, strategy, and discipline. The Terran understood that this was a species to respect and learn from. Every moment of observation added to their understanding. Eli whispered to himself, humans are different, strong, intelligent, and disciplined. We must remember this. Fear is natural, but learning is our strength. The day ended with the Terran still observing, still learning, and still filled with awe and caution. The human warship was a symbol of power, control, and intelligence. And the Terran knew that this encounter would change their understanding of the galaxy forever.